Welcome tonight. How you doing? You can hit that first arrow. Okay. If you have questions, just blurt them out or raise your hand, and I can answer it. If you want to wait to the end, that's fine too. I want to first start about with some changes that we're doing here. We're starting every Monday. We have homeroom, and we start every morning with announcements. Now at 8:20, we check IDs and we check dress code. That seems to be working. We also have a bell that rings 1 minute before class is supposed to start, and so that seems to be working. Last year at this time, we had about 700 tardies. Right now, we have about 130. So, I mean, that's like, I want to do a backflip because that's so nice. We're videoing this, of course, so if you want to, when you get home tomorrow night and you want to watch it again, you can see that it's videoed, or if someone's not here that maybe wanted to come, they can look on our website and see it. Student learning objectives, those tests that we took last year where we take a pre-test, then a post-test, of course we're doing those again. The state has mandated that, and they will count 10%, or excuse me, they will count as a test grade in your child's grade book. And we are using the difference between the pre-test and the post-test as that grade. If you have a question about that formula, I'll be more than happy to show it to you. We're also introducing PBIS, which you have seen probably in elementary and middle school. When your child went to elementary and middle school, we're doing that for the first time here at Glenn Academy. We're letting our student council take it over and let them run with it. I just think if the kids do it, that the rest of the students are more apt to listen than if you or I were to get up there and talk about the way they should behave. Go ahead, Diane. Trying to use Saturday school and silent lunch more this year instead of using ISS and out-of-school suspension. We usually have about 20 kids a day in silent lunch, and that seems to be effective. As far as those kids who are not wearing their IDs and not dressing appropriately, they immediately go to silent lunch that day, and that takes away any freedom that they have to talk to their friends. That's keeping them in class longer and seems to be working. As a system, we're transitioning from learning focused as our instructional model to formative instructional practices. The state has recommended that we do that, and our entire system is doing that. So you're going to start hearing formative instructional practices more throughout our system. This Friday, we will have the first of 4 half days. Our half day will be first and second block, and then those students who drive or ride or are picked up by their parents may go home at that point in time, or they can choose to come and eat some of our delicious food that we have in the cafeteria. Those students who ride the bus will need to stay here until the buses arrive at 12:30, and we will monitor them in the cafeteria or outside the cafeteria. Hopefully the weather will be as nice as it is today, and it'll be a nice break for our students. Go ahead. Last year we had 26 active clubs. This year we have 28. We have a spirit club, which I'm sure you read about in the Brunswick News, and we actually have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club. Now they're not up there fighting, but they do practice. I haven't seen anyone get hit. And this seems to be something that the kids are really enjoying. If you go to the football games, you can see our Spirit Club in the stands, and they're having a ball up there. I was certainly proud of them. The first 2 games that we had at home, they behaved well, and they were certainly spirited. So I think that's a great thing. Of course, our band, our choir, cheerleaders, and our drama team consistently win at competitions they attend. And last year, we were the highest point total for a 5A school in our region. So we were the Directors Cup champion last year, which we usually do win. I would like to finish higher in the state category, but that didn't happen last year. Of course, we had region champions for our golf, our tennis team, boys, girls tennis, literary, and one-act play. And then our football, boys and girls tennis, and boys and girls golf team finished in the top 8 in the state. This is the point where I wish I had more data, but the scores have not come back from last year. These are our CCRPI results, and I'm sure you've seen this the past few years. Now, this is our content mastery. These are the end-of-course tests that we take. We take an end-of-course test. We take 2 in English. We take 2 in math, 2 in science, and 2 in social studies throughout high school. So these are our scores, the percent of students that are passing over the past since 2008, 2009. One thing to remember is the math has consistently changed. That's why you see a white line. But I want to show you, if you look at the white line, and you can see where we started off with analytic geometry in 2009-10, we went 41% passing, 53% passing, 65%. I drew a line because that was the last year that we taught Math 2. And we had 80% passing. Well, then we changed to a new subject, and we went down. So every time it seems like we start getting used to something, then the state comes in and changes the way we're doing math. They've changed it again. And so you can't really compare to math throughout the years. But you can look at the other subjects and see that we're doing quite well as far as increasing our scores over time. Hopefully, the scores on the far right for last year will come back, and we'll see an increase there. And we should have those scores in October. Go ahead. Same thing here. These are other pieces of our CCRPI. This is post-high school readiness, and we haven't got those scores back yet either. Hopefully, again, we'll have them in October, and we'll be able to show you more results at that time. Go ahead. And one more piece of this. You can see at the very end on the right-hand side, we have an 88. That is an estimate. That is my estimate. I'm going to be pretty close, but it might not be exact. It could be 87. It could be 89. I'm going through the process of checking every student who has withdrawn the last 4 years and making sure they went to the school they said they were going to. So I have to certify that. But our graduation rate for Glenn Academy is going to be very close to 88%. And I want to also say that's higher than most any public school within 150, 200 miles. There's a few schools in the northern part of Augusta. What is that? Evans, Georgia. There's a couple that are close and maybe a little higher, but unless you get to right outside of Atlanta, there's not many folks around here that have an 88% graduation rate. We're certainly proud of that. Go ahead. When you combine that graduation rate with the AP results that we had last year, then you have to feel good about our school. I want you to notice on the far right, the highest totals that we have are on the far right. That means last year we had more students than we've ever had before take AP exams. We had more students taking AP classes. We had more students scoring a 3 or above. And we had a higher percentage of students passing the AP exam than ever before. And that combined with an 88% graduation rate is pretty good, because usually those things have a negative impact on one another. Go ahead. Move On When Ready. Move On When Ready is taking the place of what we used to call Excel, where the students would go to the college, or Dual Enrollment, where the students would go to the technical career program. And so they've combined both of them, and they call it Move On When Ready. Just look at where it says 0809 on the far left-hand corner. You can see we had very few students taking advantage of those opportunities. And as you move to the right, you can see that last year we had 157 students participate in that, 456 total classes, and 385 credits earned. Those are free college credits that our students are earning, saving our parents money, which I think is a great thing. Go ahead. SAT results. The next two slides kind of shocked me because our graduation rate was so high. I was a little concerned that maybe we had too many students taking the SAT, that maybe they weren't prepared. But as you can see, our SAT scores went up across the board in each subject, and our total score went up. Now, we still haven't caught back up to 2008, 2009, those years, but we also had very few students taking the SAT at that point in time. Besides Richmond Hill High School, again, I'm not sure anyone near us has higher SAT scores than Glenn Academy. I don't think allowing Richmond Hill to beat us is acceptable, but that's the only high school near us that has higher SAT scores than Glenn Academy. Going to ACT. Once again, our ACT scores are up across the board. A composite score of 21.4, while not is something that we want to brag about all day, it is higher than we've had in the past, and it's higher than most of the schools around this area, with the exception, of course, of Richmond Hill High School. And that's who we used to aim at Camden County, but we've moved past them, and now we got our eyes set north. Go ahead, Diane. College and career readiness. This gets filled in over time. The second row total number enrolled. That data takes so long to get to me, so as I get it, I try to update this. All of this information is available on our website under historical data, and if you want to go through it and look at it, certainly you feel free to, and if you have questions about it, I certainly can answer it, but I've tried to go back as far as I can. We had 371 graduates last year, 156 eligible for the Hope Scholarship, and 48 students eligible for Zell Miller, and that's the highest we've had. That's pretty good to have that many students eligible for Zell Miller Scholarship. And then finally, talking about renovations. Before I go any further, does anyone have questions about the data that I know I went fast? Does anyone have questions about the data that I've shown? Any questions at all about graduation rate, SATs, anything? No? Did I go too fast? Want me to do it again? No? Okay. All right, we've completed the Wolf Street demolition. We've added, made the Americans with Disability Act renovations that we had to make on the front of this building. We've brought portables in for whenever we change. The tennis complex has been completed. So those things have been done here. We are now in the process of building the cafeteria and the new classroom building, which you can see they're moving along pretty well there. We anticipate that those things are finished in the spring of 2016. Now, if we can finish somewhere around spring break, we're going to try to move into those classrooms because I don't want new buildings just sitting there our kids not using. And so if we can possibly move in, I'm going to just work closely with Mr. Mann and Mr. Boudreau, and if there's a possibility that we can move in, then we will. The second we can go into that cafeteria, we're going into it because I just think our cafeteria is kind of small and getting old. I certainly want our kids to have an opportunity to eat lunch in there. The old Glen Middle Gym is being renovated right now for our football field house, and those things are happening now. Once those things happen, then we will modify the existing cafeteria for the band for now, and then we're going to build a new band facility behind the prep building. You can see where it says prep building and band addition. That will be the next thing, and then finally the Sidney Lanier building will be renovated, and that's where we end with East Bloss 2. And so those are the things that we have paid for right now, if I'm understanding this correctly. And we're still looking 2 or 3 years out, 4 years out before those get done. Go ahead, next one. These are the things that we still have to do. We still have to renovate the science building. We still want to renovate the wood gym, not do a whole lot to it, but kind of fix it up and make it user-friendly, I would say. We're still going to do some things at Edo Miller. Add an additional athletic building where the old field house is, the old football field house near the parking lot, near the Sidney near the gym. We're going to tear that down and add a new athletic facility there for our non-football playing sports. We're looking to either purchase or build a softball field somewhere, and then we're looking for additional practice facilities on our campus. So that's where we're at now, and I will be here as long as I need to answer any question that you may have. Thank you very much.